Have you ever wondered how we actually take the pulse of an entire country's economy? I mean, we hear these terms like GDP thrown around on the news all the time, but what do they really mean? Well, let's dive in and actually break it all down.
So, that's the big question, right? How in the world do you add up everything a country makes and does in a whole year? It sounds huge, almost impossible. But you know what? The basic idea behind it is surprisingly simple.
The best way to get our heads around this is to just shrink it all down, way, way down, to something we all get, a single family's finances. We're going to use this simple idea to build our way up to the big stuff.
Okay, so let's start right there. If you had to figure out a family's total income, how would you do it? It's pretty straightforward, right? You just add up all the money coming in.
So check this out. Dad's got a salary, mom's got a salary, maybe there's some rent coming in from another property, or a little income from a family farm. You just add it all together. Simple. Now, let's take that exact same logic and scale it up, way up, to a whole country.
All right, this brings us to the big one, the one you always hear about, GDP. And the key thing to remember about GDP, the most important word, is domestic. It's all about what happens inside a country's borders. It's about the location.
Yep, gross domestic product. It's the total value of everything produced within the domestic territory of a country. That is the only rule that matters. If it's made on that country's land, it's in. It literally doesn't matter who owns the company. Okay, so this table makes it super clear. Look, Reliance, an Indian company in India? Of course, that's a yes. But here's where it gets interesting. McDonald's, a US company, but it's operating in India? Yep, that counts too, because it's happening on Indian soil. Now let's flip it. An Indian lawyer working over in the US? Nope, not in India's GDP. Why? Because the work isn't happening in the domestic territory.
But what if we wanted to look at it differently? What if we said, I don't care so much about where the money is made. I care about who is making it. Which citizens? Well, there's a number for that too.
And that's where GNP comes in, gross national product. See the difference in the word? National. This one follows the people, the residents. It's all about everything produced by the normal residents of a country, no matter where they are in the world. So the focus shifts from geography to nationality.
And bam! Look at how the table just flips. Reliance is still in, no surprise there. But McDonald's in India? Not anymore. That money belongs to America's GNP now. And remember our lawyer in the US? She's back in. Her income now counts towards India's GNP because she is an Indian resident. See how that works? It's all about who you are, not where you are. So there's a pretty simple way to get from one to the other. You just take the GDP, and then you adjust for all the money flowing across borders. You add the income that your citizens earn abroad and send home, and then you subtract the income that foreigners earn in your country and send back to their homes. That little adjustment gets you from GDP to GNP.
Okay, but there's this one little word we've been saying over and over again. Gross. Gross domestic product. Gross national product. Gross means we're looking at the big total number, but it's not the whole picture. It's missing something really important. Everyday wear and tear.
The easiest way to think about this is with a car. Imagine you drive a shiny new car off the lot. A year goes by. You've hit a few potholes, maybe gotten a door ding. The engine's got thousands of miles on it. Is it worth the same amount? No way. It is lost value, and that loss in value is called depreciation.
Well, the same thing happens to a whole country's stuff. Factories, machines, roads, you name it.
So, if we want a more realistic number, we have to account for that, right? We just subtract the value of all that wear and tear. And when you do that, the word gross becomes net. It really is that simple. So GDP minus depreciation gives you NDP, net domestic product, and GNP minus depreciation gives you NNP, net national product. We're peeling back the layers to get to a truer number.
All right, quick recap. We've got domestic versus national. That's territory versus people. And we've got gross versus net. That's before and after wear and tear. We are so close. There's just one final piece to the puzzle to really nail down what economists mean when they talk about national income.
First, let's talk about something called factor cost. You can just think of this as the factory price. It's the bare-bones cost to actually make something. It includes the rent for the building, the wages for the workers, interest on any loans, and hopefully some profit left over. That's it, the pure cost of production.
But we all know the factory price isn't what we actually pay in the store, right? The price tag we see is the market price. And what's the difference? Well, the government steps in.
They add on indirect taxes, which pushes the price up, but sometimes they also give subsidies, which can bring the price down.
And here it is, the big reveal. When you hear an economist say the words national income, they mean something incredibly specific. They mean the net national product, calculated at factor cost. It's the income of the nation's people after you account for wear and tear, and measured at the pure production cost before government taxes or subsidies get involved. Let's just say that one more time because we worked hard to get here. National income is the income of the people after accounting for wear and tear and measured at the pure factory cost. All those little pieces we just learned, they all come together right in that one definition. Pretty cool, right? So there you have it. We went from a simple family budget all the way to the official definition of national income. Now you know exactly how the score is kept. But this leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? Just because that number gets bigger, does it automatically mean life is getting better for you or for me? That's something to chew on.